Well, many FMCG companies catering to mass consumption items reported poor sales volumes in the April-May-June quarter, that is in Q1. Let's look at just three examples. I've picked up Britannia. As you can see, it went into negative in Q1. Let's look at Marico next. Okay. All right, Godrej Consumer, and there again you have a -6%, and Marico again -6%. All three showing a dip in Q1, and I'm even comparing it to pre-COVID, Q1 of FY19. Companies blamed it on inflation, leaving less money in the hands of people for buying goods. They blamed delayed rabi harvest or a more secular trend of loss of livelihood and savings because of COVID. So how's consumption panning out in the first quarter, in the second quarter, that is the current quarter? We already have half the quarter gone by. We have CEOs from three different categories. We have Anuj Poddar of Bajaj Electricals, the consumer goods space, Mayank Shah from Parle, which is FMCG, of course, and Lalit Agarwal from V-Mart, which is retail. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. Anuj, let me start with you. And first, congratulations, of course, on your elevation. I have not covered consumer durables in the initial presentation, and the negative growth or the fall in sales was actually shown by consumer FMCG companies. How was it for companies like yours? Has the first 6 weeks of the third quarter been better?
Good morning, Lata, and thank you very much. First, the good news. I think for us, Q1, even in volume terms, if I compare to the last 1, 2, or 3 years, has been better. Maybe it's partly because of summer. We've had a good summer, after 2 lockdowns, but even compared to pre-COVID. So I just think slightly better on volumes. On actual value terms, of course, it's better. But if I split that Q1 numbers, I think April and May were good. June is when we started seeing a downturn in demand. And to be honest, that's continued into July. That said, the good news again, August and September, at least when I talk to our sales and distribution guys, they are very bullish on that. We have an early festive season coming up this year, and we expect to make up for the poor demand in July. That's the current expectation. That said, I'm as eager as you to listen to the other panelists. Okay. I think a lot of us are yet on the fence in terms of what does consumer demand look like going forward.
Fair enough. Anuj, I have a few more granular questions for you, but as you say, let us hear it from Lalit Agarwal. Lalit, you very specifically said that increase in product pricing impacted rural and semi-urban demand. I'm quoting from your analyst meet statements, and you said stores in urban areas and tier 1 did well, but not semi-urban areas. How has the first 6 weeks of Q2 been?
Definitely the pain is still there. Prices for the common man has not come down. Their pocket and their budget gets impacted. There is a recovery, there is some recovery, but still we are missing out the pre-COVID numbers. And but yeah, I think things will get in control. Things are becoming better. People are becoming normal with the situation. There is an anxiety that definitely every household, which is the common household, which earns between 15,000 rupees to 40,000 rupees, has in terms of their savings and their management of their budget in their house. So there is a pain which is there. Plus the overall commodity prices for us as well has gone up. Our prices have gone up. So what we used to sell in 2019 versus today, we are almost 20% up on that. So we are also creating impact. So we are trying to do some of the things so that we reduce the impact on the consumption on the consumer so that he is able to consume. And there still continues to be an impact. We should expect this to go away by festival.
Wait, before I come to Mayank, who's most important in terms of the pulse of the mass consumption products, just tell me, Lalit, is the first 6 weeks of Q2 better than Q1, or is it the same trend?
It's better. It's better than Q1, definitely. Okay. But yeah, it's still not
anywhere near pre-COVID. Okay, Anuj, yours?
I think July has been an extension of June, which means not very strong. I'm actually expecting August and September to be much better.
No, August and September have to be compared with previous festive seasons. You can't compare them with obviously June, July. We always consume more during festivities, but I'll come to that. We are really wanting to hear you, Mayank. I mean, this is the absolute minimum that the Indian consumer consumes, and all the way up to, I think, well-off households Parle G is consumed. So tell us how consumption has been in the first 6 weeks.
Uh, you've seen a very strong revival in demand in the first 6 weeks. Last quarter, as you rightly said, was flattish as far as volumes are concerned. And whatever growth we saw was primarily driven by price hikes. So growth was, price-led and not really volume-driven. That is something that has changed in the first 6 weeks of this quarter. What we have seen is that we are seeing, demand reviving. Not demand was good in urban India, as Mr. Agarwal said, and semi-urban and rural area where there was a little bit of problem in last quarter and last to last quarter. We have seen strong revival. There are two very important, factors behind that. First one was better realization of Rabi crop because of the geopolitical crisis by farmers. So, they got good rates for wheat before government banned exports. And after they sold their stocks to, the middleman, the rates came down a bit. They're still much higher than that of last year. So I think better realization of Rabi crop. And secondly, if you look at the current progression of monsoon, it has been really good. I mean, not bad, barring one or two states like UP and Bihar. The progression of monsoon has been good. These two factors, along with, setting in of festive season, the last 2 weeks especially, has made a huge difference in terms of revival of demand. So we're seeing a very, very strong revival in demand, and we are seeing, thankfully,
Seeing a very strong revival in semi-urban and rural. Is that what you're saying, Mayank?
Yeah. So over and above urban, even in semi-urban and rural, we are seeing volume growth, which is a very heartening thing, not just value growth.
No, that's very valuable, what you're bringing to the table, because it clearly means that some bit of rural incomes have returned. UP, Bihar, do you have specific data? Because there, of course, the rains are still playing truant. They normally come only in early August or late July for Uttar Pradesh, but it's been missing in action so far. Can you see that in the purchasing power?
Yeah, so I think, demand there also has revived, but not as much as what we've seen in the Western Belt and Southern Belt. Okay. So we've seen much better revival of demand there, not so much into UP and Bihar. Okay. However, the first factor that I talked about, which is better realization of Rabi crop,
has made
holds good even, holds true even for them. Okay. So there has been, revival in demand, not so much as we have seen in West and South.
Okay, so there are two ways in which inflation cuts. Food inflation takes away from the ability of some people to consume, but it enables consumption in some quarters, as Mayank is saying. Anuj, the other thing that could impact your sales is if you pass on price hikes. Typically, when does your high-cost inventory come in? Have you already used your high-cost inventory? Has your raw material cost started falling? Or is it the other way around? Will you still have to pass on price hikes?
As we sit now, unless commodities go up, I see no further price hike for probably the next 6 months at least. Commodities have been cooling off in June and significantly so in July. So I think we are past the peak of price hikes of commodity inflation. But I also think we hit the bottom. I don't think there'll be much more deflation in commodity prices.
No, we have certainly passed the peak.
Now it's a trade-off.
No, Anuj,
absolutely past the peak.
Anuj, I take your point that it seems to be past the peak globally. But very often, there have been producers who tell us that they work with a 60-day inventory. So they are still stuck with high-cost raw material. Could that
Let me explain that to you. Yes, let me explain that to you. Our incremental purchases are all at lower rates. Okay. We do have some high-cost inventory sitting with us. So the margins will come back to us in a staggered manner because it will be a blend of higher margins on new purchases and lower margins on old purchases. But we are not looking at any further price hikes.
Okay. Lalit Agarwal, the same question to you. Do you think price hikes are behind us and you will be able to maintain prices, or will you be forced to pass on inventory, high-cost raw material inventory price?
Lata, we have already done that, and we have had this piece when we had to decide it, and we did it in the last 6 months back. And this is what we said, that somewhere we think we have done some mistakes in passing on the complete price hike to the consumer.
Okay.
And some part of that has been rolling back. We are trying to roll back also, trying to bring in some innovation and work on some, product which is blended product, which is not pure cotton, but gives the effect. So we are trying to bring in some of those mindset and bring down the prices
Fair
so that
enough.
we understand the consumer's pocket and we have to really help him to manage the budget.
Got that. Now, Lalit, I want two more differentiations from you. Do you see any regional variation in demand? Like Mayank was pointing out, some states lagging or some tier 3, tier 4 cities doing better. Just give me some geographical nuance.
So, Lata, southern India has seen a better demand. Southern has looked at a good one. East is also comparatively better, but especially the Uttar Pradesh, Bihar has been the worst of it. And we've seen that for the last 3 months and still not recovering. And further, the risk of monsoon, which is hanging over, and the whole red belt, this whole Jharkhand, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal seems to create anxiety among people. Because if that doesn't happen and the rains are not normal, it will once again create a what I call a feel-good factor impact, and that's what also impacts consumption.
Okay, I now want to know whether you all see a difference between high cost items and low cost items. Let me start with you, Mayank. Are the premium products doing fine, or is mass consumption, which was not doing fine, doing better now?
Well, both of them are doing well, but mass consumption or value items are doing much better, given, the impact of recession. So within biscuits, I would say, biscuits, if I look at a category as a whole, is far more essential than discretionary. So, it gets less impacted. But even within biscuits, if I look at the value items, they are not the ones which are affected. Premium items were the ones which were affected a little bit, but now off late, as I shared, with the onset of festive season,
you're doing fine.
Started seeing recovery of premium items since last month onwards. That was more about, primary sales, distributors, chains, everybody, started buying it in anticipation of good festive season. And we saw that if we talk about, the current data which is trickling in of the big day, 15th August, and the 2 weeks prior to that, 1st to 15th August sales data, if we look at, we've seen, a revival of demand in even premium items. So I think what is helping revival of the premium items is the festive mood. Consumers are going out after 2 years of muted celebration of festivals. I think this would be the first festive season when people would be freely going out.
Yeah, got it. Mayank, actually, I'm out of time. That's why I'm trying to rush it through with everyone. If in your case, all your products on all 365 days are my weakness. Lalit, do you have a distinction? Do you see premium products doing better, mass consumption? Very quickly, what is the performance?
Lata, is not a quick answer. It's definitely a very, very confusing state of affair. It's a K graph. The poorer have stopped buying. Some of them have not come down to the stores. They are not coming to shop. They are postponing their shopping. The richer within that particular class is spending more. They have more income. So there is a K graph philosophy where even the better products are doing good, and definitely there is a high demand of low price product as well.
Okay, and Anuj, what's been your experience?
So my view, we are largely a mass focused company, but if you look at the sector, last 1 year, actually premium has been doing better. It's been more resilient. But with the rural and others coming back, I think going forward, the mass will come back stronger.
And are the retailers more cheerful ahead of this festive season than they were in the previous 2 years?
Yes. So 2020 was a great season because of the pent-up demand. 21 was weak. I think 22 will be better than 21.
Okay. No, but is it better than your experience in, say, 19? I mean, pre-COVID.
So even versus pre-COVID, if I just look at absolute, yes, we are well above that. That's fine. So if I just try and draw a graph, after 19, 20 was a rocket, 21 fell a little. I think 22 should be a normal upgrowth.
Okay. Or that's good to hear, actually. Thank you, gentlemen. The key takeaway is that it looks like the quietness in the demand is continuing, but Mayank has a different point of view. He sees a sharp rise in mass consumption demand, and all of them are, of course, expecting things to be a little better during the festival season. Thank you very much for watching this edition of It's the Economy. Time for Chartbusters in a minute.